Township Board of Trustees to order. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Michael, would you please lead the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may have noticed the flags are at half-staff. Let's pause for a moment of silence. That is for the officer who was killed in Rockford earlier this week. May he rest in peace. Thank you. All right. And would Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Present.
Trustee Drapka?
President accounted for.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Present.
Trustee Lupfer?
Present.
Supervisor Wilt?
Present.
Let the record note Clerk Blou's in attendance.
Thank you. You have in your packets the minutes of the February 12th Board of Trustees meeting. What is your pleasure? I will entertain a motion and discussion of any additions or corrections.
Motion to approve the minutes of February 12th.
Trustee Clark moves the approval of the minutes of February 12th. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Any additions or corrections? Trustee Heilenbach seconds. If there are no additions or corrections, all in favor of accepting the minutes of the Board of Trustees of February 12th, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. All right. Are there any communications?
Oh, there was one. It was, what did I do with it? I know I had it. It was a thank you note for you, Vera, for attending the Hauser Food Drive.
Oh,
And that was the only communication that was in the packet today.
very good. Thank you very much. Are there, before we get to the rest of the agenda, where I presume someone is here to speak to the beds grant? Okay. Before that, are there any other comments, visitors' remarks, anything that we have not reached on the agenda yet? Anybody wanted to bring to our attention? Then hearing nothing, we will move on. The Supervisors Report, I'll just update you on the state of the building. Everything has been dried out and all of the equipment has been removed. We will still need, on the township side, we will still need to make some repairs, especially in the front stairwell. There was a section of wall that had to be removed so that the air could be circulated inside, and there were some removals of trim and so forth that did some paint damage, and we had a little bit of paint damage otherwise. Since there are other areas in the building that we need to get bids on for painting, I will just include all of those repairs then. And our insurance company has been working with the remediation folks, so they've paid all that, and they are simply awaiting the remainder of the repairs to the building that we had. We believe that everything else is all right so far. The budget is in your packets. It's a work in progress. We'll address that a little bit later. You may notice a couple of things that I increased there, and we'll discuss that when we get to that. We had, let's see, I wanted to report that the exercise classes have been getting a lot of participation. In fact, we had one day when we had as many as 19 people show up, and we've been getting an average of about 17. So the communication by mail to the seniors of the community certainly helped. Also, we participated, three of us plus participated in the Feed the Community event at Hauser Junior High. I thought that went really well, and it was nice to see the students of the school and the rest of the community cooperate on an effort like that, and we were an awesome team. I think we were the first ones to fill our quota. So we worked with children, and it was actually with Girl Scouts. So that was a good event. I don't have anything else in particular to report. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to address them, but most things are in the agenda. So moving on, trustees' reports. Trustee Clark, do you have anything?
Tomorrow is our senior social, and they'll have a light lunch after exercise class. It happens to be pizza tomorrow. And then the following Wednesday, the musical group Switchback will be playing at 1 o'clock. All are invited.
Very good, thank you. Trustee Drapka.
I was thinking about how we could raise awareness for the food pantry, because I know that sometimes we have to go out and spend money to buy supplies. And, with the event that took place at Hauser, for the benefit of another food pantry, maybe there isn't as much awareness in the township of our food pantry as there should be. So just trying to think of ways, and I'll try to put something together, probably not for next meeting, because next meeting is the town meeting, but in the annual meeting, but probably for May, I'll try to get the proposal together. But long story short, probably something upstairs in the auditorium, an afternoon type event. Just trying to raise awareness. Entry to the event would be a perishable, non-perishable food item that we could use for the food pantry. So.
May I make a comment?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why don't, when we do our shredding event and bicycle election event, why don't we also make that a food drive?
Yeah.
Where they drop off their shredding, drop off non-perishable food.
I was just thinking to different events.
Yeah.
To have different. It's always good to have more than one event. So why combine it all into one where we can drag it out and have multiple events? I'm looking for like the fall area. September, October, November, something like that.
But, is that too much to ask them to bring a non-perishable? Drop off your shredding and drop off a donation to the food pantry?
It's not a problem, we'll just have to be prepared for it because it's off our site, so we'll have to haul that back here then. But presuming that we're going to have so many participants. But we can certainly add that to that day's
Or do you think
events.
that's too overwhelming, or we can discuss this more when we get to that on the agenda?
We can talk about it then, see what all we want to do that day. Sounds like a plan. Thank you. Anything else? Then Trustee Lupfer, I'll go to you since...
Well, I'd like to report that Trustee Clark has a new hairstyle, and it looks great.
Thank you.
You missed it. You weren't here last month, so it's old news. Anything else? No. All right, thank you. Trustee Heilenbach.
Good evening. The Mental Health Board has been very, very busy. NAMI has started the program with training the first responders on mental health issues, and that is going to be in coordination with our township partners. Brookfield Zoo was kind enough to donate the room at the Discovery Zone for us, for NAMI, to hold this event. The Riverside Police were pretty surprised that we were picking up the tab. They didn't realize that we were going to do it until NAMI said, well, the Township Mental Health Board is funding this for you. And they're thrilled. They're very thrilled about it. Also, our program for SSRA is in swing. Next month I will have some numbers for you of who's participating and how that's going. Also, the Township Mental Health Board has approved a program that we're going to have a information and an information manager here at the Township Hall. That'll be 3 days a week, some evenings, 1 or 2 Saturdays a month. to help people that may have some issues with mental health, where to direct them, if they have insurance, if they can pay, can't pay, how they go about it, kind of lead them through. This was on our community needs assessment, and it was one of the #1 priorities, so we have given out a grant to different agencies. And it won't be just our core agencies, it's going to be all agencies. I mean, so there'll be 3 or 4 drug counseling, 3 or 4 autism. So it's going to branch out from just the core agencies that we currently support. I think it's a great program. I'm excited for it to get going. I want to thank Supervisor Welch. He's been terrific in helping us with this. And I look forward, and I'll keep reporting on it as time goes on. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Tim, mental health is so important. So thanks for all the work you do on it.
Thank you.
In training these first responders, I think it come up in other discussions that I've had. And I think that is key. Instead of just dropping them in a jail or a hospital, it will really up our service to the community. I'm very excited that you're doing that.
Yeah, and there's another, apparently this will certify the police officers that
Right.
take this. So it certifies them, so they know exactly what to do. Now, the fire department has a different certification. I couldn't believe it when I heard that. So we asked NAMI on the mental health board, find out what that certification is, and let's get them trained too. Because when the police leave, they're left with the fire department.
Right.
And, you know, you want that continuing care or triage until they get either to the hospital or where they're going. So they're gonna look into that. So I'll keep the board informed on that.
I presume that training is not only recognizing issues and dealing with that, but possibly even the aftermath of their interaction, is that?
They do have, each town, including Riverside, North Riverside, and Brookfield, have what they call a social worker on call. And that social worker is supposed to follow up with these people, you know, especially if it's something like a domestic battery, all the way up with mental illness, whatever the case may be. So they're supposed to follow up with the individuals, and I believe they do. But there is a social worker available to all our police departments around. We looked into doing that, but it's already provided. Proviso Township provides a lot for North Riverside and Brookfield, and I believe Riverside, so.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? Thank you very much for that. All right, then we're on to unfinished business. And our first order of business is the Beds Plus Care grant. And we have someone here to speak to the Beds application. If you would please come to the podium, identify yourself, and just give us a brief rundown of your organization's needs.
Well, hello, my name is Tina Rounds. I was before you just about a year ago this time. So I appreciate your support. Thank you for supporting Beds Plus. Just to piggyback on what was just said regarding the mental health services, it's so important to provide safety net services in all of our communities. We work very closely with a number of different organizations, with the police departments, with townships, with municipalities and churches to provide really that next step with many individuals. We provide what's called homeless prevention, which is prevention and stabilization services. That is to provide one-time financial assistance for people who are at imminent risk of homelessness. They're facing eviction. We're in the process of becoming a HUD counseling agency for people who are facing mortgage defaults. We have funding through HUD for diversion, which is individuals who can stay with family members but don't quite have the funds to do things like, get a train ticket to a, California or another place. We have motel funds in that line of service. So we provide about $150,000 of financial assistance to individuals who are at imminent risk, and then we have about $35,000 in these other programs. We recently took over a group called the LaGrange Area Transitional Housing, and we have 4 units of transitional housing for individuals who are part of the school systems, who have children who are at risk or have special needs. And we are actually moving a Riverside Township resident into that transitional housing in about a month. We have 2 units in Lyons. We have 1 unit in LaGrange, 1 unit in LaGrange Park. So that's one line of service, and that's how we do prevention and stabilization. We also have our homeless shelters. So we work with a wide variety of churches in this area as well as in Oak Lawn area. Riverside Presbyterian Church was integral in starting the agency, and I'm happy to say they'll be back this summer doing a summer shelter. So we provide about 10 months of emergency overnight shelter for about 350 people in total who take advantage of that service. We have a day center in Worth, and we have a day center just down the street at 9601 Ogden Avenue. So that's our homeless services, and then we also provide housing. So at our day center, we also have 20 units of housing upstairs, and we have another 65 units of scattered site housing. So those are scattered throughout the community, and for an individual who was mentally ill, had lost their housing, but had been disenfranchised from family members, we can provide housing for those individuals connected with supportive services. So we submitted a grant. I apologize, there was a miscommunication on our end with no one showing up for your last meeting, but I'm happy to be here this evening. So we've seen an increase in our services, particularly since we opened our building. We've had the opportunity for additional funding. We have noted about 104 clients that were assisted last year from Riverside Township in one of those 3 services. We also have a number of people in the township that are participating as volunteers and involved in our day-to-day activities. We have about 1,000, just over 1,000, 1,200 about volunteers that help make our work possible, particularly in shelter operations.
So that's, I guess that's one of the reasons why we all, it's not speaking for everybody else, but that's one of the reasons why we kind of postponed until this month, was because nobody was here last month
I
to
apologize.
account for the increase and that you're requesting from this board. And you said that you served 104 people last year.
Right.
So you're looking at serving.
Well, some of it's just based on demand,
Uh-huh.
so this year we're seeing an increase with our prevention. So overall, more people are coming to us looking for those at-risk services, and it's a way that we can assist in communities where homelessness is kind of hidden. Homeless is really a spectrum where you see people, only about 18% of individuals who suffer from housing instability are actually chronically homeless, so they might look homeless, have the bag and walk around. Many people are hidden homeless, particularly families. And so our services that we've expanded are working with the schools. We were also recently awarded a grant called the Community Health Worker with the former Riverside, the Arthur Foundation, which used to be located in Riverside. And that is a community outreach worker. So we'll be able to we have the capacity now to go to food pantry events and to further connect with individuals who are in all of our communities, which span from Berwyn to Tinley Park.
So you're thinking that you're going to be servicing a higher number of Riverside Township residents
We believe so.
this year.
Yeah, we believe so. And I want to note an example of how we can continue to work together. We recently, on the 31st of December, there was a fire in Justice that affected 35 families who in the Willow Hills housing complex. It's a complex of high-density housing. And we were called after the Red Cross came in, you know, where that handoff of service comes in. And we worked with the township, Lyons Township. We worked with a private funder, and we accessed county-based funds to assist now 27 of those families to be rehoused in just over a 3-month period. So there's more opportunity for us to continue to identify. I know there's emergency funding that's available through your township, and you're probably taking care of people who come with one-time needs. But we can do more to match those funds with private donors and with other public sources, so we meet the full need, particularly if you've got an information officer that's available here, or information person, because they can, you know, come visit our site. They know it's always better when you can look in the eye and have the business card and the direct cell phone of the staff person who you would be handing that person off with. So due to this new funding we received from the Healthy Communities Foundation, we can do more of that. You know, you have to focus your funds on core services. It's sometimes hard to get that funding for outreach. People are coming to you. Now we can go to them thanks to that funding.
I think one of our questions was, how much of this $5,000 is going to go to Riverside Township residents, or is it all in one big pool?
It can be restricted by the township. If you look at the application, there's a cost of delivering services to the township residents. That's an estimation based on the direct service that we provide in each of the categories where those clients originated. So that's the estimated service cost to the agency, which we fund through a profile. You know, a lot of our funding is fortunately through private sources. You know, we almost our entire line of service in emergency services, those homeless shelters, is funded through in-kind operations. So we have very many volunteers who are cooking meals and generously hosting sites for us. So that is not counting that. That is counting direct financial assistance, individuals who were former residents of Riverside, current residents of Riverside Township that are living in supportive housing.
Yeah, I'd really like to see us work closer together. I think there's a lot of synergy in what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that custody of command, so it's chain of custody, that we hand them off to you. I think, you know, it's another resource that would be great for our residents. And if, you know, we could pursue that, that'd be great.
And our shelters are, they're, you know, depending on the participation of the churches, you know, we rely on the generosity of the churches to host those sites. We staff them, we provide all the supplies, we have, you know, the management of the churches, but they've come closer into Riverside Township over the last couple of years. So that's where we've seen an increase in the number of residents we've helped, or former residents. So we have locally, St. Hugh is a site both during the winter season and in the summer season. They're our Wednesday night site. St. Barbara, which is in Brookfield, hosts 2 nights a week. And then, like I said, the Riverside Presbyterian Church will be doing a week of summer shelter this year, and their members are involved in St. Francis, which is one of our sites in LaGrange. So we may have seen an increase based on that.
And for full disclosure, I do provide deeply discounted service to Beds Plus with my company, but it is discounted to the point where there is no money being made off of this deal. So,
All right.
I make a motion, we award this grant of $5,000 to Beds Plus.
I second it.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Lupfer, to grant the $5,000 requested grant to Beds Plus, Inc. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you very much. I have some materials too I'll leave.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Thanks for coming in.
What was your name again? Tina. Tina, and your,
Browns?
Thank you, Tina. My question is, as the general assistance officer for the township, I do get people who may be at risk of losing their housing, they're behind in rent and so forth. Should I be referring them just to you? Is there some other path that we should take on that?
That would be great. I mean, what probably would be the best, path forward would be for you to meet with our manager of stabilization services.
Okay.
And we can describe the different funds that are available. There's a county-based fund, there's a federal fund, and then we have a fund called the housing fund, which is funded privately through, generous individuals.
Mhm.
So we can, depending on the circumstance and the amount of documentation that we can take, they can fit into different buckets.
Okay.
And so say the township would normally give $400 for a crisis or something like that, but the actual need is say $1,500. We can strategize with the client's participation to try to meet the full need if we believe that they can take from there.
Okay.
So the key points are we need to document the crisis. So there has to be some reason why there is an interruption of income, whether
Mhm.
it's a change in family circumstance,
Right.
a death in the family,
Right.
medical
Sure.
interruption. And then we've got to document the income going forward.
Very good.
It actually ends up as a way to strengthen landlords and overall tenancy rates in a particular community because you can, get people past those humps.
Right.
And that's really what it's designed to do. And it does ultimately help both the landlord and the tenant.
Right. What I'll run into sometimes is that people they've re-established income and they're going into a different housing,
Right.
so they can do the rent, but they can't perhaps come up with the security deposit and things like that, so, okay.
Yeah, that we can, we can certainly.
Very good.
And that they can make the township funds stretch too. Or fill in
Excellent.
those gaps where, because of regulatory reasons, we couldn't help.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I do have one question.
Sure.
Would you be a resource, so with our training of our first responders on recognizing what's going on, instead of having them just drop them off at the hospital, would you be a secondary resource that maybe they don't just go to the hospital, they have other places to send the people?
Well, we can and we do receive, drop-offs from the police department, particularly if the person's homeless or they're found, in there, if somebody calls from the Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, so they can be dropped off. We do have a screening process, but there are two, and we're open 24 hours a day at the building. So, we have 24-hour staffing and we can receive somebody if they don't know where else to go. During the, terrible weather, we were running 24-hour operation, and so, a lot of the libraries are closed, things like that, so we have to visit one reason. And staff will call us sometimes, depending. So, but there's also two living rooms, which I'm sure you're aware of, one in Broadview, through Haas, which is alternative systems alternatives, and then in partnership with Miami and in Western Springs. So there's two locations where people can go to avoid the emergency room because that's the most costly intervention. So,
Thank you so much.
sure. Thank you.
All right, let's move along then. You have in your packets a draft of the 2019-2020 budget. If you have any questions, I can try to address them. You'll note there's a color code here. If there's a change from last year, if it's just a change, it's in yellow. If it's in pink, it's something that we no longer need in the budget, so it's being eliminated. And then if it's green, we had previously agreed to a change, and that specifically refers to the assessor's budget. But since then, we've identified that there might be a need for more, so it's my recommendation to increase that. Other than that, if you want to schedule another budget meeting, we can do that, or my plan for this is that we would whatever we approve, whether we approve this tonight or if we have another budget meeting for this, that we would then publish that budget and then have a hearing on the same evening as the annual meeting, which is April 12th. But I would not recommend proving it at that point because that will be less than 30 days from publication. So then we can approve it at the May meeting. We can approve it anytime in the first quarter of the fiscal year. So April 1st is the beginning of the fiscal year, so we have 3 months from then.
Isn't our annual meeting April 9th?
I'm sorry, April 9th, yes, and that's why it would not be, because today's the 12th, yes, it would be April 9th, so that's less than 30 days from today, and we have not approved this yet. However, if it's going to be published sometime after tonight, if this is the way you want to go, or if you want one more session to go over this in greater detail, then we would still have that time in order to approve it on May 14th.
I don't know, do we need another budget meeting?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think the first one we had took care of it.
Okay.
But
So, I mean, these numbers, obviously, this is for your approval. This is all based on either actual receipts of taxes, so there's some increases there because we've been getting more, and we have there was a slight increase in the levy that would kick in for this coming fiscal year, and everything else is basically following either what our expenditures have been or what I anticipate them to be because of matters that we've already discussed here and we would need to approve.
I say we approve it tonight.
yeah, just so do
Well,
we
the
need
problem is that we're not gonna, does it make a difference? Let me ask this one question. Because next Wednesday, we're gonna approve
Right.
the mental health board budget. So is that gonna make a difference if we approve this budget because it's got the mental health board budget in there?
Right. Mental health board is part of it, and that has not been changed. You'll note that there's absolutely no changes here because I didn't have any numbers from there. Mental health board has its own levy, so it's almost just a, what? It's
Placeholder?
a placeholder. I mean, they raise their own funds and they agree to spend them, and we don't interfere with that. So those are items that we probably would not influence anyway. So if you approve, I don't know, if you don't have a draft budget, do you anticipate any changes between what you've got now and
Well, I mean,
the meeting next
we,
week?
if anything, it's not gonna be much more than this. I mean,
Okay.
we won't.
It might go in different directions,
The
might be
levy,
shuffled around.
right, the levy we issued was 1.5%, which I think came out to like $18,000.
Right, that's,
You know, for the township.
so what is your pleasure? I mean, we can just plug in the numbers from that, and then once their budget is added to this one, then that would be what would be published, would be up for
And
public
we publish
inspection.
our own, we publish our own, am I right, or do you publish it for us?
Well, we put this whole document that includes yours in there, but you publish your own for discussion. Do you have a hearing also for yours then?
I think it's the, no, we don't have a hearing.
No.
No.
So if there, after you publish yours, if there were any questions, we would still have that opportunity after the 9th of April.
Okay.
When there's the hearing, yours could be heard at that time too.
Okay.
And then we would go from there. So I'll entertain a motion to place this, to approve this, to place this for public inspection, with the insertion, I suppose, of the mental health budget
So
I mean-
moved.
So,
when available.
yeah.
I have a motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Lupfer,
Yep.
to recommend the adoption and place this for public inspection. Any other discussion? Then, if Clerk Blau would please call the roll.
Wait, do we have a second?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lumford?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, thank you. Proposals for the installation of building-wide Wi-Fi. We gave you a presentation, or we gave you some numbers at a previous meeting, and you did ask for additional estimates. And we've reached out to a number of others, asked for proposals from other installers. And we have a summary. The first page shows a summary. So the original one that you got was from Versatile Computer Services. Please note that that is who the Riverside Public Library has do all their networking systems. They came out for 2 site visits, did not charge us for those, and then we have that quote from them. Network It Easy has, does not do the cabling, so we would have to hire in addition to that, so that would simply be for the equipment.
making it
And you
easy.
may note that their estimate is higher than, than the total with cabling from Versatile Computer Services. Agility Network did not make a site visit. They simply submitted a proposal for them to come and do an assessment at the rate of $165 per hour, with an expectation of 6 hours to do that assessment. And then you have the Alpha Computer Experience, who simply has not called back. They said they would, and on several occasions. So my recommendation would be, since we know these folks who have done the library's been very pleased with them, that we do go forward with the Versatile Computer Services.
All right, so my only concern with this, and I'm no technological genius here, you
Nor am
know,
I.
they use gigahertz, megahertz, I don't know what any of this is, but what I can say is I know how to read, right? And so the 2 proposals, it seems to me, are pretty different. One's talking about an installation of 5 access points. The other's talking about an installation of 12 access points. One's talking about this Cisco equipment with 28P. This one's talking about the same Cisco equipment with 48P. There's a difference here. I don't know what it all means, right? Obviously. But there's a difference. I don't know if it makes,
So we're not,
I just don't know. You
Comparing.
know, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could Google it, right, for sure. But you know, what's the difference between 48P and a 28P? Do we need 12 access points? Do we need 5 access points? I know Riverside Library, well, I think it's kind of smaller building. You know, is there more interference in this building because of the high ceiling? I don't know, you know?
so the access points are based on having an access point in each of our public rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the 5 comes from.
But the other one wants to put 12 in there.
I think you're looking at the brochure.
No, I'm looking
Is
at.
it on a proposal?
Yeah, I'm looking at the quotes. Quote. Yeah. The Network It Easy quote compared to the Versatile Computer Service quote. And then the follow-up email with a 48-port PoE switch, whatever that is. And this one, the Versatile, is a 28-port PoE switch. You know what I mean? There's a difference in the equipment.
I think that's probably similar to speaker ports, you know, you could or component ports. It might be the amount of ports on the back of the machine that you are able to plug into.
Sure, do we need 48? Do we need 28? Do we need 5 access points? Do we need 12 access points? I don't know. I preface this whole thing by saying I'm not a technological genius, and I don't know these terms. But I know that there's a difference. So,
So we're not comparing apples to apples, is what you're saying?
that's what I would gather. But then again, I don't know. Right?
Well, both of these companies, you're looking at Network Easy, right? Network It Easy?
Yeah.
And Versatile, okay? They both made site visit. Versatile made 2 site visits. And it's what they recommend. Now, my guess is if you've made 2 site visits, and this is just me, I would say that you probably have a pretty good handle on how many units or things that we need. Network It Easy made a site visit. They went through everything. They except for there's no cable included in that, and their estimate was $11,000.
I get that. I get it. Totally get it.
Okay.
But I don't know what we're getting and why there's a difference in the equipment. Look, if you were to say, if these 2 proposals were exact same in the equipment, just based on the equipment alone, then I would say, okay, then fine, let's go with probably the lowest of the bid, right?
Right.
But this one's talking about 12, this one's talking about 5, and then there's a difference of this Cisco equipment. Well, okay, well, what do we need? Which one's better? What is feasible for this building? What do we need? Because this is not the same. And I can't sit here for sure and tell you, oh yeah, well, let's go with the lowest one, or let's go with the highest one, because I don't know what this stuff means. I don't know what we need, right? I think I'm repeating myself that time.
I'm comfortable with the bids. I feel I can make an informed decision on whether, they wouldn't bid something that wouldn't service our needs, that we would not pay them. And I'm concerned about not including the cabling in with their bid. You gotta include the costs, and that's a big cost, so, I question why you wouldn't include that. When I put a bid together, I put all my costs in there, and say, you might have, the irrigation guy, 1,000 or 10,000. We've had this issue before when we have this. If a bid says, here's my cost and you need something more, I'm not comfortable accepting that specific bid. So, the first one, the versatile computer services, we write them a check and we get Wi-Fi, whereas this one, there's more to it, and I always wonder why they're not putting that cost in there. That's always a red flag for me.
All right. I see where Trustee Dropka's going with this. So Supervisor Wilt.
That's right.
I screwed that up. Let's do the cost of what the Cisco gigapole and 5 access points and 12 access points, and find out what the difference is, and then next meeting we should be prepared to get this going.
I would only point out that in the second page of the Network It Easy one, it says this is just an estimate, but we can make adjustments after we do the site survey. They came out, but I don't think they did a true survey. They came out and did a site visit, not so much a survey. I can tell you that Versatile was here twice and spent hours here crawling through, looking at where access points were and so forth. I think they did a much more thorough job. So I think that they have basically done a better job for their estimate. I feel like Network It Easy is ballparking it.
I kind of agree with that also. And looking at the, it seems like they just, you know, a lot of times there's vendors that'll just say, you know, they don't want to do the job, they're just going to bid it astronomical and say, hey,
That's
let's
never
go.
happened.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and when they come and they tell you they don't do the wiring,
That's,
and find
That's
yourself
another thing.
someone and get in touch with us after you have somebody to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really a half-baked
All my
proposal.
subs are on my bids.
Yeah,
I think we should go with the first one, right? That's
Versatile, yes.
The versatile, because it seems like that's a complete bid, and they, you know, we're here twice.
So I move that we accept the Versatile Systems bid proposal to install Wi-Fi services. But which one are we accepting? The 3-year or the 6-year cloud hosted?
that's just a matter of the service contract, so.
Oh,
I
okay.
think we should accept the 3-year.
Accept the 3-year bid in the amount of $7,503.94.
Because then, you know, once it gets installed and we see how it works, if we need to make adjustments, we can. Is that correct?
It's merely actually, it's not a service contract, it's the cloud subscription, so, you know, everybody uses
Oh, right,
clouds
but-
today.
Yeah, but I mean with the installation.
Oh, yeah, I
and
mean, if
the-
it's
the
not
price.
enough, we certainly can then go back in and boost some things. But right now, I mean, our service in this building is pretty poor. And the more activity that we have here, we have an event, and the first thing, somebody comes down to get the network code, the Wi-Fi code, and then we have to warn them, well, that it's not gonna be a very strong signal, and make sure that you don't have too many people using it, because it's going to just diminish your strength, too.
There is a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I have a motion from trustee Lupford. Is there a second to his motion to accept the 3-year cloud subscription bid for $7,503.94 from Versatile Computer Services?
I'll second.
I have a motion by trustee Lupford, seconded by trustee Clark, to accept the 3-year cloud subscription bid from Versatile Computer Services. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, then Clerk Blau, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
trustee Drapka,
Abstain.
trustee Hollenbach,
Yes.
trustee Lupfer,
Yes.
supervisor Wilt,
Yes,
motion is carried.
thank you. Okay, onward to participation of the Cook County Township Day. As you asked me to shorten up the day, not to do a full day, I got back to them to say we'd like just a half day. I think I've notified all of you that in the meantime, there was an alderman from Chicago who came along and took the morning of that day. So we can do June 15th in the afternoon, and you have, doesn't look like you have the bid, but the bid is for $380, and that is to run the event from 1 till 4 in the afternoon. I know afternoon is not optimal, but maybe people will clean out their paperwork in the morning and then bring it in the afternoon. And similarly, we were talking about doing the bike.
Working bikes.
Working bikes
They said,
event?
okay, in the morning I'll have to email them back to see if they're available in the afternoon.
Okay. So I would recommend that would be the day. They didn't have another Saturday except for July 6th, and I don't think that we want the holiday weekend. So,
So it's 1 to 4?
it would be from 1 to 4. And I had previously blocked off, and Hauser Junior High would be the location. They've just been waiting for me to send the paperwork, which I didn't want to do until we had the approval of this board. So we just need to give them an endorsement on our insurance policy.
So would the people be entering from the Aiken side, the
We
back
can
side
work,
out?
we can figure that out any way we want. We could,
Okay,
yeah, we could lay that out, and I would say it should be a one-way thing. They come in one way and
right, go
exit
out
the other.
yeah.
And we'll see if there's a preference for the school or even the police department as to which traffic flow is preferred there. Those are the details we can work out between now and then.
But it would be on the Aiken side, in that back parking lot?
It would be in the back
Yeah.
parking lot, yes. But whether they want, because there's two entrances there, whether they want us to come in and through
Yeah.
out, back out Atkinside, or if they want the forest involved in it at all.
And would we have that working bike set up there at the same place?
They would just, yeah, because as I envision it, the shredding trucks would be one place, and then working bikes would be, another place, and people come in, and if they have a bike, they stop at the bike, and then if they're shredding, they stop at the shredding, then they drop off something for the food pantry, and then they pull out. That's the way I envision it, but,
Oh, food pantry, we're gonna include in that, right?
well, no,
No,
I
not yet.
If we do the drop-off, that would, I mean,
don't
that's
know
a
if that-
possibility.
if that's too much, you wanna think about it, or,
Well, you know what, Trustee Clark, I've contemplated it for quite some time. Half an hour.
okay? What are your thoughts?
I think it should be a separate thing and let the
Okay.
Township Day do the shredding and the bikes rather than try to.
Something like that.
Yeah, have a separate event. There's always good when we do more events.
Well, I do think that we need to push the food bank as much as we can out into the public's eye. A lot of people know we have it, but a lot of people don't know we have it. It's always been stuck in my craw that we have to pay cash money to provide food for our residents. I think our community should come together and cover that cost. So anytime I think that we can get the food bank out in front of the community is good. So I'm not adverse to that idea at all. I know it's a can, right?
Are we doing are we gonna do like a PR push on this, like a mailer or something
absolutely.
like that?
Sure.
Okay.
It's already, you'll see later, it's already kind of got a spot in the next
Yeah,
newsletter. And then,
yeah.
of course, we would put out more things, both on our website, and probably by then we'll have a Facebook presence, and then we could do a mailer as well if you want.
Yeah.
Go ahead. The other option is not to do working bikes, and do the food pantry and the shredding.
I like the working bike.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems to be in the same vein, and really food pantry is too. Bring your excess to us, bring your things for shredding, bring your bicycles that you're not using,
Right.
you have no bicycle to give, come and give something to the food pantry. It's an option for those who don't have a bike to donate. Right?
I'm fine, whatever.
So let me ask you this then, should I continue to research ideas for them?
I don't think there's any
Absolutely.
problem with
Okay,
having
fair
more
enough.
than one event that brings in food for the food pantry.
All right,
Well, previously on our speakers' events, the price of admission was
right, I know that, I remember that.
non-perishable food item.
Yeah,
I have to say it wasn't overly successful,
Right.
Yeah.
but at least, it got the word out there.
yeah.
And Mike, I would also look toward, Trustee Dropke, I'd also look towards fundraising events as well, because, if we can start putting in $10 certificates to Riverside Foods for protein in our bags, if we can start giving other kinds of things in our holiday meals. So if there's an idea that we could use to raise funds as well as cans, I think we're pretty covered on the non-perishable food items on a general basis, but it's that out-of-pocket expenses that we have. So if there's any ideas on how to raise actual dollars to go subsidize some of this stuff, that'd be great. And I think we could also,
Can we do that?
Yeah, I was just.
Well, it's not, remember, it's a separate fund. It is not in general assistance because it doesn't belong in general assistance, although it used to appear in the budget that way, but it never was under general assistance and didn't use those funds. So we can't, I mean, we do get donations.
Right, yeah.
We do get checks
The one way to
periodically.
do it would be to have the dinner club, you know, their Christmas one, donate $10. You know, the junior Brews Cruise, you know, every third year could be raising funds. So it's not necessarily just us hosting events to raise funds. It would be
it
local
out
charitable
there.
organizations that every third year in a rotation say, okay, here's your, you know, we'll give you a check this year, the next year we give it to the Boy Scouts or what have you, but
And we do remember that there are other things that bring in cash. For example, the libraries often have, they do their redemption, so if you're paying off fines, it goes right to the food pantry rather than
right.
to them, you know, that kind of thing. So we do have other sources of cash.
Now, a few years ago, we put in vouchers for the farmer's market. I don't know if we did that last year.
We did not,
Yeah,
because
good.
here's the problem we run into with farmers market. They want us to have somebody on site for each of their farmers markets to collect the vouchers and pay the vendors.
Vendors, yeah.
That's kind of a clumsy way of doing it.
There's a logistical way I think we could solve that. That was the last board, and I think.
Well, no,
No,
okay.
it was our board.
Yeah, they still wanted us to do that. But I think that today, we certainly don't have to have a physical presence. They could email us, you know, or they could text us pictures of the vouchers, and we could then pay out to a vendor. There's ways to set it up. So let me investigate if we can do something like that for this season. Okay, but right now, we still have an open, oh no, we don't have, do we have a motion?
No.
We have no motion yet for the Township Day events, so what is your pleasure?
I make a motion that we approve the June 15, 2019, from 1 to 4 p.m. for the Township Day, for the shredding event and the bicycle, for work bikes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Motion by Heilenbach, second by Clark, to participate in Township Day, June 15th, from 1 to 4 with the shredding event as well as working bikes and possibly more.
We're not gonna put the food pantry thing in there?
I don't know that was part of, that wasn't mentioned as part of the motion, so.
Okay.
Very good, then, there is an expenditure here, so would you please call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
On E, I am still working on reaching out to potential new legal counsel. The budget reflects an increase there. The one question that arises when I speak with law firms, we have not had this before, but would it be this board's pleasure that any proposal include a representative of the law firm attending each of our monthly meetings? We have not had that to date. When I spoke with at least someone that had expressed an interest in doing our work before, but has since gone to a bigger firm, and financially, it's not really something that he can bring to that firm. But he was surprised, for example, that we don't have a presence here. Most municipal boards do, and I'm not sure about all the townships having one, but if we're going with a bigger firm where there's more representatives, that might be a possibility. But I'm not going to engage somebody to do that unless this board wants that.
I don't know how necessary that is for them to attend each meeting.
I think it's very
Oh,
necessary.
you do? Okay.
Absolutely. I think if we run into a question, which we have on this board, we have legal counsel here to direct us in the right way. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think this is probably the only board in government that I've seen in action that doesn't have legal counsel here. And I think that we leave ourselves a little open by not having legal counsel here with us to guide us. That's just my opinion.
I second that opinion.
So,
Include a rate.
Okay, so as
It wouldn't hurt to
I
include
seek
that.
proposals, I would include that probability of having somebody at the meetings each time. Okay? That's all I have to report at this point on that matter. Okay. All right, under new business, approval of room request for special use from the Junior Women's Brew Cruise. This came up previously. We did not have this application. We now have it. So, do we have anyone here to speak to this?
sure.
Oh, we
Sure.
should.
However you want to do it.
Okay,
Come tell us about your request.
yeah, absolutely. So my name is Ashley Prosser. I'm Lauren Lendman, and we are both part of the Riverside Junior Women's Charity, and we are doing our third annual Brews Cruise fundraiser. The planned date is April 6th. The planned event would start here on the second floor for registration, and we would have silent auction and raffle items that people could look at before boarding buses that will take them to local breweries. And then they will end back here at the hall, go back up to the room, and then we will have food, drinks, and then more bidding, and the event will, and auction, and then the event will close.
This room for?
No,
No.
in the auditorium.
Yes.
The auditorium, but, so you
Oh, that's
crossed
struck.
out.
They
Oh, you
had
crossed
it
out.
checked, and there's a strike through, and there's a box around the auditorium.
So when they check in, they're gonna check in on the second floor?
Correct.
And they'll get the raffle prizes and then come back down?
Yes, we want them to be able to look at everything because there will be silent auction that they can access on their phone from the buses and the breweries. So we want them to have a good idea of what they can hopefully spend some money on that we can get back to local causes.
And who's responsible for cleanup?
We are. And we will do that after the event. So at the end of the day, we will be done and gone.
We've done this 2 previous years at the train station, and it's been a great success, and we've never had any issues. So we're just hoping you guys will let us use your space.
And it's a daytime event, so
It's a
there's still
daytime
time in the
event,
evening
yes.
to
Yes.
afterwards to clean up.
Correct.
And you're happy we have an alcohol policy.
We do appreciate that.
I make a motion that we approve this wonderful event.
I second it.
I have a motion, and a second, to approve the room request for special use for the Junior Women's Brew Cruise. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have one comment, in that the juniors have supported the food bank in the past with cash contributions, so I'd like to thank you for that.
Yes, yes.
Our pleasure.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion? Then would you call the roll, please, Clerk Blau?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with your event. Thanks for waiting tonight.
Okay, next item is the approval and adoption of the annual town meeting agenda. You'll note that it is just a standard agenda. Any additional items from community members needed to be submitted by the 1st of March, and no such submission was received. So it is just the standard annual meeting agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the Riverside Township Annual Town Meeting for April 9th, 2019. That will be held on April 9th, 2019.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by trustee Heilenbach, seconded by trustee Lupfer, to approve the annual town meeting agenda for April 9th, 2019. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried. You have a draft of the next newsletter, which would hopefully go out within the next week or so. At least it would go to the printer. If you have any questions or you need anything changed, please get that information to us as soon as possible if you don't want to proofread here.
Are we
Yes.
gonna add the working bike
Yes,
things to the
Yes.
marathon? Are you?
if you can get me a slight blurb about that, or
Okay.
we'll look it up. Working Bikes is what it's called, correct, or Working Bike?
Workingbikes.org.
.org. Okay, we will,
I can try to do that too.
right,
Tell Andrew, nice job, really a nice job.
I will tell him that. He'll be very happy to hear that. I think he's doing well in trying to keep some readable white space in there, so. Okay. Then we'll add that. If there's anything else to add, please let us know no later than tomorrow, because we'll want to get that out as soon as possible. Yes?
You know, the PEOs have a bake sale on the same day as the Lions Chicken Dinner. Is it worth putting that in there?
I guess we could. Actually, let's see. Let me take a double. Actually, besides that, the Girl Scouts are having the book sale that PEO
Right.
usually has.
Yeah.
So I will ask him to add those two items so that they know that there's a three-ring circus going on here that day.
How's the chicken?
It's very
Oh,
good.
is it?
Oh, it's great. Well, it's White Fence Farm.
Yeah.
You know, how do you go wrong?
Are you selling tickets here?
We have some in the office.
Oh, okay.
They haven't distributed them yet. They're coming out, actually tonight, I think they're distributing them at the meeting, but they've gone to evening meetings, so I'm never there. So they go, part of the year they do evening meetings, so the Lions, we will have them available in the office.
Okay, thank you.
Are we gonna all eat together, or?
We're not on that yet, we're just starting that now. So we haven't even, let's get on the agenda on that, and then we can.
Oh, just, yeah, that's just regarding the newsletter.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we make the same donation as we did last
Oh,
year
on to the
with the
next one.
same advertisement that we did last year for the Lions Township, or the Riverside Township Lions Club Chicken Dinner.
Okay, so that would be, they do two formats of placemats. It's a double ad on each, and you have a sample there with the cleaned up logo, as you can see, that's what would be, imagine a box around that, and it's top and center of that. So I have a motion by trustee Drapka,
I'll second it.
seconded by trustee Heilenbach, to approve those two ads for a total of $100. Any discussion? Then Clerk LaBelle, would you please take the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lefferts?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes,
Motion is carried.
thank you. Then we also,
Excuse me,
yes,
Supervisor, we're not gonna take
a vote on that?
on the newsletter?
I think it's
Pardon?
I don't think we have before, have we? I mean, I think it's ready to go, so,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Then you have the first of the Independence Day Parade participation applications. I'm guessing you would like us to participate again. I have to give you a note, two of you, trustee Lupfer and trustee Clark, never returned the car magnets, so,
I have them.
okay. Do you-
Like, what?
Do you have your car magnets,
I
or you
have
have both of
Tom's.
them? Oh, okay. Okay, so we just want to make sure that when we're putting them out, you're not, where's mine? Okay. Also, for your information, for handouts, we still have over 1,500 of the fans from last year and about over 400 beads. So we had ordered 3,000 last year, so we've got just over half. We've got 1,550 of the fans for handing out during parades, as well as 432 bead necklaces. So if,
Well, we need more beads, won't we?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can't have.
well, we kind of do either or, not everybody gets both. If you want, I can order more beads.
Yeah.
How many beads do we usually get, do we know?
We did not order any, I don't think, last year. I think that was, we're still working off of leftovers.
I thought we ordered some last
Did we?
year. Yeah, we ordered some.
I think we might have ordered them the year before.
Okay.
In
We'll
17, I
check.
think we got
Okay.
extras.
Did we have like 12 cases?
Yeah, could be.
That's.
Do you want me to order more beads then?
Or some more,
We just have 432 beads.
Yeah, strings of beads. I think that there's some random ones. I think I might have another dozen or so in the
we
area of my
need-
office.
I think we're gonna need a few more.
Okay.
If we're gonna participate in
Okay.
all the parades, don't you think we
If-
need fans
Because
also?
Tom, didn't we run out of stuff?
Well, the
when we
fans,
ran
we've
out
got
of
as many,
stuff?
we have a little more than we gave out last year, because we actually gave them at a couple of other events last year. I don't remember what it was, but I think I might have taken them to, I don't know, might have gone to like outdoor concerts or something like that. So, if we ordered 3,000 and we have 1,550 left, we went through about half and we still have about half.
We ran out of both, really. I mean,
Do you want
We
an
just didn't
additional
put enough
order?
in our car.
Right.
Goods, we ran out fairly quickly when we were in North Riverside.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, just remember we have to put them somewhere on the cars, because they take up some space.
Vera, are you ordering those eyeglass things for the senior health fair?
Actually, I ordered something different this year.
Oh.
I've got some small tape measures that we've
Oh,
ordered.
great.
So. Okay, then I'll order more fans and beads.
So this is just for the Riverside? and
This is
we're-
just Riverside, we haven't gotten the others. Riverside's really early with it, and
So we're still planning to do North Riverside and Brookfield?
yes, if that's the pleasure of this board, yes,
Yeah.
and I think we should.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just put in the application, correct, for Riverside? I believe that for Brookfield, I think we have to have insurance, but that's not here yet, so. And so it's all right, what is your pleasure? Can I just have a motion just so we go forward with this?
So
With-
moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, to participate in the Riverside Independence Day Parade. All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, just for your information, there's some key dates in here. I've been asked on a few occasions whether we want to try to do the opening of the time capsule, since this year is 125 years since it was laid. It's not until later in the year. I know that Riverside is doing some acknowledgement, but if you take a look at the timeline, that's actually, they are going by when the area was, when the model plan was made. That's not even on here in terms of saying that this is their 150th anniversary, I believe. Our town hall building is 125 later this year, at least the cornerstone is. It didn't open for business until several months into the following year. And similarly, then in 2020, it will be the 150th anniversary since our township was established. So if you have any ideas for what you want to do in celebration of that 125th building anniversary, please let me know. To do something in the fall.
I thought we were gonna try to combine it all in one, no? Wasn't that the,
Oh, you want to do one event for all of it? We
Yeah.
certainly could do that, 125 years next year, since the building didn't come into use until
yeah,
that year.
I think that would be more appropriate.
Okay, so look at something maybe in the spring of next year or so, or,
So you're saying nothing for 2019?
That'd be 2020, right?
2020.
yeah, in 2020, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the township was established or separated out from Proviso on September 24th of 1870, so we could even go until the fall.
That's when we should have the thing with the food drive,
Sure.
September. So we're talking about September,
September of 2020 will be the 150th anniversary of the township.
Should have a
we have a
dance
day in
party.
September?
September 24th was the day it was legally separated from Proviso by the county board and designated as Riverside Township. And the first township board meeting was held at the refectory on November 22nd of 1870.
So, September 24th is a Thursday. You know, we could do something that Friday or Saturday, right?
Well,
after
I
that,
know-
or Thursday?
Weren't we talking about last meeting, just hypotheticals, tossing out ideas? I mean, I think for something like this, you know, I guess where I'm coming from is having some kind of celebration out in front here, stage, music, fireworks. That's kind of what my food, that's kind of my thing, that's my focus. Sometime in like August, July, June, somewhere in that time period.
June,
A
July,
barbecue
August of
cook-off?
2020.
With
2020.
judges. A barbecue cook-off with judges, right?
That was something that is right out here in front, that's gonna bring the whole community, that something that, like, you guys, the Village of Riverside does the concert in the park thing, so, you know, maybe Riverside, the village wants to forego that, or combine it.
Forego that.
Combine it all into one in 2020, or have two separate events, fine by me.
I think two
don't
separate
care.
events, I don't think they'd
That's fine,
want
but that's just kind of my envision, is to have a big old celebration right out here in the front here area.
They do that concert the weekend after Labor Day on a
Right.
Friday night. We could
Yes.
take that over next year. I don't think they would have a problem with that.
That would be.
Or then, you know, I mean, we could offer to do that.
We could do two separate events, it doesn't matter. I mean, but that's just kind of where my vision in this whole celebration thing would be. I would go one step further with the cornerstone, so, you know, this afternoon of fun would begin, right? And would begin with the kickoff from our fearless leader, the supervisor, and right at that 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock-ish kickoff, we have the cornerstone thing, you know, to take out the cornerstone, then entertainment, band, some kind of dance group maybe, whatever, food going on throughout the afternoon, evening, culminating, fireworks, boom, go home.
I'm not averse to that, I'm the one who doesn't like spending money at all. But the outreach and the public awareness that would come of that, it would beat 1,000,000 mailers. So I think the PR that we would garner from that, because Riverside does concerts in the park really well. They are always really well attended, so I would not be adverse to that. I think it's a good idea.
We'd have to budget money for it in our
Right.
next year's budget then, right?
Didn't we kind of?
We would be known as bringing fireworks back to Riverside.
That would be in
Well,
the,
it'll be in the next budget.
next
It'll be the
fiscal year.
2020 to 2021 budget.
Right, so when we plan our budget meeting
right.
next year, we'll have to, I don't know if we can make a new line item for that, or.
I'm sure we can.
Town of Riverside never had fireworks. They were always in North
Never.
Riverside.
Yeah.
They were always in North Riverside.
Had fireworks at my wedding.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Did you get married on the 4th of July?
In Mexico.
Oh,
So they were just lighting them off right next to me.
Did you pay for them, or were they?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
you
we
did?
paid for them.
Oh, okay.
$12.50.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. It was great.
Bottle rockets in the parking lot. I'm not sure there's a wide open enough space in Riverside.
Right.
I mean, you know,
we can discuss that at that time. I'm quite
Yeah.
certain, no, you're correct. But
Yeah.
this is the
figure it out.
beginning stages of planning it. I mean,
Yeah,
All
right.
you
I
gotta
mean,
do
it's
is
a
ask,
grand
you know,
idea, and
yeah.
we'll see what flies and what
Yeah,
doesn't.
Right.
start big and go from there.
All right.
Okay.
Put your
All righty,
castles in
well,
the sky.
would anybody like to
Make no
serve on a
small
committee
plans.
to plan
I
that?
would love to be on that committee, supervisor.
I
Okay,
would supervisor, I think we should.
okay.
I think it'll be a committee of the whole pretty soon.
Well, that sounds
Yeah,
like
I
it.
think a committee of the whole
All right.
would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would even go so far as to say, let's start having this committee of the whole starting, you know, May,
Okay.
June,
All righty,
after annual, month after annual meeting.
very good.
I agree with that, so we can get a date locked down,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
especially if we're gonna have entertainment and let the.
exactly, yeah.
Very good. All righty, then, we've covered those two items. The next item is budgetary transfer. Budgetary transfer of appropriations. When we purchased, what was it? Oh, when we purchased this was the software or the program for background checks and all. There was no one line item that would cover all of it. I want to clean this up before the end of the year, so we would be taking $125 from operating supplies and $250 from equipment and transferring that to office supplies where it was taken from to begin with. And that would adjust the appropriations. Then operating supplies would be 0, equipment 0, and office supplies would be 500. So all the money would be under one line, and we'd be copacetic. So may I have a motion to approve that budgetary transfer?
I'll make a motion to approve the budgetary transfer.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Heilenbach, second by Clark, to approve the budgetary transfer between, oh, this is within the general assistance budget, so, general assistance fund. Again, reiterating operating supplies and of 125, equipment of 250, transferred to office supplies. Total addition there of 375. For the final line items would read operating supplies 0, equipment 0, and office supplies $500. All in favor of this budgetary transfer of appropriations signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And if you would please sign the ordinance, that would- or resolution, I guess that is. that would be appreciated.
So is
Motion
there-
is carried.
Are you passing one around to sign? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And moving on to information. The FYIs include the Aging Well Month Kickoff. We've submitted the ad that came with this. We will be providing them with some items for their goodie bags. This all came with our sponsorship, and we get 6 tickets. The event is at 11 o'clock on May 1st at the LaGrange Country Club. It's a very lovely luncheon, so if any of you would like to go, just let me know. We have 6 seats available.
I would like to go.
Okay? Anyone else available that day?
I have to check my schedule, but yeah, I'd like to go as well.
Okay.
Is it May Day?
I believe it's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday, yeah.
Okay, again, let me know if anybody else wants to go. All right, and we also are registered for the May 16th Senior Fair in North Riverside. That runs from 10 a.m. to noon, if any of you would like to participate there. As I said, I've ordered some they're retractable tape measures for the event, and
I'll help you
thank you.
if you're, or I can be there.
We'll bring everything over and you can help hand that out. Also, what came in after the agenda was already noted. Please mark your calendars because I presume you're going to want to participate in the North Riverside Youth Scholarship Fund golf outing, which is on Monday, June 10th. 7 a.m. check-in, 7:45 shotgun start. If you want to participate in this, we budget for this each year, so, as I said, it's not on the agenda, but it's within my spending. We have been doing the double, yeah, pardon? Two foursomes, so I think it's 2 Eagle sponsorships is what we've been doing. So that's $1,600.
We can't take a vote on that right now, correct?
Correct, but I'm just giving you a heads up on that. It will be on next month's agenda. And if there's nothing else, we can move on to the warrants. And Trustee Heilenbach, would you please?
Trustee Heilenbach moves that the board authorize and ratify payment of bills identified on the general warrant for March 2019 in the amount of $12,469 as presented to this board this 12th day of March 2019.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Heilenbach, seconded by Trustee Clark, to approve the general warrant in the amount of $12,469.00. This March 12th of 2019. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Should be a roll call, shouldn't it, Supervisor Wilt?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Clerk Blau, sorry.
That's Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee Drapka,
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach,
Yes.
Trustee Lupfer,
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you for keeping me on track. All right, the rest of the warrants?
Motion by Trustee Heilenbach that the board ratify and authorize payment of the amounts indicated on the following warrants. The utility warrant for $2,182.35. The payroll warrant in the amount of $17,285.56. The health warrant in the amount of $1,693.58. Grants in the amount of $13,400. Petty cash in the amount of $130.09. General assistant warrant in the amount of $1,300. Township radio players warrant in the amount of $200. and a food pantry warrant in the amount of $137.18. All of the above presented to the board this 12th day of March 2019.
Thank you. I have a motion for these warrants. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second for the following approval of warrants: for the utility warrant of $2,182.35, payroll warrant of $17,285.56, health warrant in the amount of $1,693.58, the grants warrant in the amount of $13,400, petty cash warrant in the amount of $130.09, general assistance warrant in the amount of $1,300, and the township radio players in the amount of $200, and finally, the food pantry warrant in the amount of $137.18. Clerk Blau, would you call the roll?
Trustee Clark?
Yes.
Trustee Drapka?
Yes.
Trustee Hollenbach?
Yes.
Trustee Lundberg?
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. There's no other business before this board. I will entertain a motion to.
adjourn.
I have a motion by trustee Clark,
Second.
seconded by trustee Drapka, to adjourn this meeting. Thank you for your attention, and meeting is, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried, and meeting is adjourned.